Any calves are still grazing? Have all the calves returned? Or some have gone looking for some grass elsewhere? Okay, so shall we start? So just before the break, I was mentioning that this continued for almost one complete year. Krishna continued to remain in the form of the missing calves and the cowherd boys, and their respective mothers got the opportunity to actually serve them personally for this extended period of time, and therefore Krishna fulfilled their desires to have Krishna as their child. Now, when it was almost 1 year after this incident, an extraordinary thing happened which was noted by Balaram. Now, an interesting point to note is that on the day when Brahma stole the calves and the cowherd boys, Balaram had not gone with Krishna and the cowherd boys for grazing. He was at home. He had not gone. So he did not know about this incident. And Brahma and Krishna's Yogamaya potency, his Lila Shakti, had covered things in such a wonderful way that even Balaram did not know of what had happened. And Balaram was also noticing that the calves and the cowherd boys, they are all identical, but the way their mothers are loving them, there is something different here. He was not able to put his finger on it, despite himself being the Supreme Lord. Balaram is directly Krishna, but even he could not figure out what exactly was wrong or right, what was happening. So when one day the cows were pasturing on top of Govardhan hill, of course that was done in those days by the Brajabasis. But today, for us as devotees, we should never set foot on Govardhan. It's a very important point to note. Even when we circumambulate Govardhan, do parikrama, we should make sure that we do it from a distance. There are designated paths for the parikrama. We should only stick to that and not go inside and place our foot on Govardhan hill. But in Krishna's time, Krishna, the cowherd boys, the calves would all go on top of Govardhan. So the calves, or the cows rather, were grazing there, and they were being escorted by the grown-up gopas, not by the cowherd boys. The cowherd boys with the calves and with Krishna, they were elsewhere below. But the cowherd men and the grown-up cows were on top of Govardhan hill. Generally, the calves and the older cows are grazed separately, and so also in this case. So when these cows are up on Govardhan hill and they suddenly saw the calves below, something happened. And normally what happened is that they would see their calves even for this 1 year only after the calves came back from the pasturing ground. But on this occasion, somehow there was some proximity and they saw the calves from the top of Govardhan hill. And because of increased affection that they felt, all of a sudden when they saw their own offspring there, they began to rush down the slopes. It was not an easy slope. At certain areas, the slope was quite steep. Secondly, there were a lot of obstacles like rocks and other things there. But despite all that, the cows, who were quite heavily built, they started racing down Govardhan Hill at great speed. So much so that Shukadev Goswami says that it was as if they were running only on two legs, not four legs. So they were really running fast, and the milk bags were flowing with milk. Their heads and tails were raised, and their humps were moving with their necks as they ran forcefully until they reached their calves to feed them. Now, these cows had given birth to new calves. But when the cows came down, they allowed these older calves to also drink milk from their milk bags. And they began licking their bodies with great affection. You see, animals like cows, dogs, cats, and so on, they express emotion or their love by licking. So the cows also, they began to lick their calves' body. Now, meanwhile, the cowherd men, the Gopas, who were looking after the cows on top of Govardhan Hill for that period, they became very flustered and ashamed. A cowherd man will pride himself in being able to control and look after the cows and bulls. And if some cow cannot be controlled and does things beyond his order, then he feels very upset, because that is a taint on his capacity as a cowherder. So all the grown-up cowherd men, the Gopas, they did not know what to do. They tried to restrain the cows from jumping and running down, but the cows could not be restrained. They were too forceful and too strong. So they rushed down, and the cowherd men could only look on in astonishment and frustration. How come these cows are running down so fast like this? And they're not even obeying our orders. So somehow or the other, they also came down the rough road with great difficulty. They could not jump and run like the cows. They experienced some difficulty, but somehow or other they came down. And when they saw their own sons, the cowherd boys, remember, they were also Krishna. The calves and cowherd boys were still Krishna. So when the cowherd men, they suddenly saw their own boys, their sons, their hearts also became overwhelmed with affection. And they ran to their boys. Their hearts overflowed with the mellow of paternal love, parental love. And they embraced them, and they started smelling their heads. And with great difficulty, somehow or the other, they separated themselves from their offspring, both the cows and the cowherd men. And they returned to the forest to graze the cows. But as soon as the cowherd men remembered their sons, their eyes filled with tears. So now, when Balaram was watching all this, and he was thinking, something is going on here. What is happening here? Something is not quite the same. And then he began to consider. He began to think, what is this wonderful event that has happened? Kim etat adbhutam iva vasudeve khilatmani. Adbhutam iva kim etat. What is this adbhut, this extraordinary and wonderful event or phenomenon that has happened over here? Vrajasya satmanastokeshu apurvam prema vardhate. The affection of all the inhabitants of Vraja, including me, towards these boys and calves is increasing as never before, just like our affection for Krishna, the super soul of all living entities. So now it has clicked to Balaram. This is what has happened. That all the cowherd boys and these calves are actually Krishna. Otherwise, it is not possible that all the Vrajavasis, including myself, could have this increased and ever increasing affection for the cows and the cowherd boys. Keyam, ka iyam, meaning whose mystic power is this? Va kuta ayata. And where has this mystic power come from? Daivi va nari utasuri. Is it some demigoddess or some other woman, or is it some female demoness? Because they remembered Putana and all of that, but here is it some positive deity that has come in like this in female form? So she must be the illusory energy of my master. Prayo mayastu me bhartu nanya me pi vimohini. It must be Krishna's special energy, because who else has the power to bewilder even me? That is not possible. So Balaram was extremely astonished, and now he came to the conclusion. He was able to see with the eye of transcendental knowledge. Shukadev Goswami says that all these calves and Krishna's friends were actually expansions of Krishna. Then Baladev said, now it is time to take the bull by the horns and to address the issue frankly with his brother. So he went up to Krishna and he says, "O Supreme Controller, these boys are not great demigods as I previously thought, nor are these calves great sages like Narada. Now I can see that these calves and the cowherd boys are you directly expanding yourself." In other words, previously Balaram used to think that these sages have manifested in this life because of their austerities of previous lives in order to serve Krishna. They have got a chance to be Krishna's associates in Vrindavan. But now, in this particular example, Balaram says, I understood that this is not the case, that at least for the last 1 year, this has been the situation, that you have personally expanded yourself. Remember, it was not exactly the same day, because that was the birthday of Balaram last year, when Balaram had not come into the forest, when this happened. So had it been exactly 1 year, Balaram again would not have been there. But it was therefore 5 or 6 days before 1 year elapsed. So Balaram was present. And at this time the whole mystery was revealed to him. Meanwhile, as almost 1 year had passed on earth in Vrindavan, one moment had passed in Brahmaloka. So Brahma wanted to see the fun. Let me see what has happened here. So he had gone back on his Hansa Vahana, on his swan vehicle. And he went there thinking, now I have exhibited my divine energies, my mystic powers, and I have hidden the calves and the cowherd boys. Now let us see what the fun will be down there. Let us see how Krishna will have got bewildered, thinking, where are my friends, where are my cows, what will be happening there? So he was thinking perhaps there will be some commotion, because they will all be confused about what happened to the calves and the cowherd boys. So after one moment of Brahma's time, he returned there. And when he came back, he was thoroughly surprised to see that all the cowherd boys and the calves were exactly doing the things that they were doing when he came about a year ago. And he could not understand this. He said, let me check if somehow the other Krishna came to know where I had hidden these calves and the cowherd boys. So he went to that location. Probably he had kept them in a cave, and he moved the stone or whatever it is he had kept to block. They were sleeping under the mystic slumber of Brahma's potency. So when he went there, he saw that the cowherd boys and the calves were still there. So he rushed back to where he was seeing the calves and the cowherd boys. They were also there. So he was thinking, which are the real cowherd boys? Which are the real cows? The cows are where I hid them. They are still here. And there's another set over there. So now we have two sets of cowherd boys and calves. And Brahma was thinking, he went here, then he went there, he went back there, he came here, and he was thinking, what has happened? And Brahma's four heads began to spin. And he was thinking, what has happened? I cannot understand this. A similar number of boys and calves have been playing with Krishna for one whole year. Yet they are different from the ones illusioned by my potency. Who are they? Where did they come from? Thus, Shukadev Goswami says, Brahma, thinking and thinking for a long time, tried to distinguish between those two sets of boys who were each separately existing. He tried to understand who was real and who was not real, but he could not understand. In this way, Brahma was bewildered. Vimohana. Therefore, this pastime is called Brahma Vimohana Lila. So Shukadev Goswami says that Chiram Dhyatva. Chiram means Dhyatva means for a long time. He was thinking, trying to figure out what has happened, but he was not able to understand. So just see the lesson. Because Brahma wanted to mystify the all-pervading Lord, who can never be mystified, but who on the contrary mystifies the entire universe, he himself was put into bewilderment by his own mystic power. Just as if somebody tries to employ some energy, there's something called a boomerang. You throw it at somebody, it comes back to you again. So if you employ these so-called mystic potencies, or you want to even harm any exalted personality, that will come back and harm us ourselves. So one must be very cautious in how one deals with devotees and with any other people in particular. So therefore, Brahma, who wanted to bewilder the residents of Vrindavan, to bewilder Krishna, and at least bewilder the cowherd boys, realized that actually the joke was on him. He had tried to bewilder everybody else, but in the end, it happened that he himself was bewildered. Shukadev Goswami says that there are glowworms. You know what is a glowworm? In the night time they glow. Yes? And when they are on trees, in a particular season they come. And when they sit on a tree, then they shine bright, and it's a very captivating sight. Looks very beautiful. It looks like some kind of Deepavali festival has happened. So they look very attractive, but only so long as it is night. When the sun rises in the morning, then no one can even notice the very insignificant illumination that is offered by these glowworms. So in the same way, now when somebody on earth may have some little opulence, it seems to be very attractive and noteworthy in comparison to what other human beings have. So we all start praising them. But when you compare it to the opulence of Krishna, what is it? Insignificant. When this is the case even with Brahma, the creator of the universe, what to speak of us ordinary earthlings who are living here, whose potencies and opulences are very, very negligible in comparison to that of Brahma. So even Brahma is like a glowworm in front of the Surya-like, the sun-like Krishna. So in this way, one Shukadev Goswami says, the mystic power of an inferior person who tries to use it against a person of great power is unable to accomplish anything. Instead, the power of that inferior person is diminished. And this is exactly what happened. And then, Then while Brahma looked on, all the calves and boys tending them immediately appeared to have the complexions of bluish rain clouds and to be dressed in yellow silken garments. So what Krishna did now, he wanted to pile on the bewilderment on Brahma. Brahma was already sufficiently bewildered. Now Krishna bewildered him more. What did he do? Brahma was seeing the calves and the cowherd boys in front of him. The calves and cowherd boys he stole, they were in that cave or wherever he had placed them. But as he was looking on to these calves and cowherd boys, each of them transformed into a four-handed Vishnu form, each wearing a golden colored dhoti with the typical ornaments of Vishnu like the Kaustuba jewel, the Srivatsa mark. They had the Shankha, Chakra, Gada, Padma, etc. in their arms. They had bluish complexion. They had lotus petal eyes. So they were all identical and they were the Supreme Lord themselves. Shukadev Goswami has described their appearance and their clothing and ornaments. And every part of their bodies from the top of their heads to their toes was decorated with fresh, tender garlands of tulsi leaves offered by devotees engaged in worshipping the Lord. So these Vishnu forms were all gently smiling and they were gazing upon Brahma. Maybe it is my speculation, but maybe Brahmaji's mouth also must have opened. He was looking, what is this I am seeing? And he saw Brahma, these Vishnu forms who were smiling, looking extremely beautiful. And they were giving sidelong glances of their reddish eyes. And this time, Brahma could understand what was happening. And all the other pastimes, all the other associates of the Lord had also appeared there around these forms, and they were chanting and dancing, reciting prayers and serving these Vishnu forms. And Brahma was seeing all this. Everything in the creation, including the personified 24 elements were there, the demigods were there, the Kala, time factor, and everything else also appeared there very miraculously. And in this way, Brahma was seeing the Supreme Lord. And just then, all of a sudden, Brahma became silent, just like a child's clay doll in the presence of the village deity. His senses were so stunned, he did not know what to think. He did not quite understand what was going on. And Brahma, the Lord of Saraswati, was mystified. Saraswati is the goddess of learning, of education, and the goddess of speech. So one who is very eloquent is said to have been blessed by Mother Saraswati. Now Brahma is certainly very eloquent. He is after all the husband of Goddess Saraswati. But in this case, even he was tongue-tied, spellbound. He could not understand what was going on. And he says, what is this? He thought. And he was not even able to see. And then Krishna felt pity on Brahma. And he removed the curtain of Yogamaya. And Brahma's external consciousness was then revived. And he stood up, just like a dead man coming to life, Shukadev Goswami says. Opening his eyes with great difficulty, he saw the universe along with himself. And then looking in all directions, Brahma saw the beautiful forest of Vrindavan filled with trees. And he saw all the birds and the animals. And he was able to understand the glory of Vrindavan by Krishna's mercy. The Vrindavan trees, the Vrindavan birds, the Vrindavan grass, water, air, everything is transcendental. Srila Prabhupada explains, in Vrindavan everything is Chinmaya. Everything is conscious. Everything and everyone is a person and is a devotee of Krishna. And Brahma was able to visualize all this. There is no enmity. There is no hostility in the holy land of Vrindavan. And then Brahma saw the supreme absolute truth, one without a second, who possesses full knowledge, assuming the role of a child in a family of cowherd men, standing all alone. In his left palm, he was still holding the curd rice and the fruit, and he was searching here and there, here and there. And Brahma, you can imagine what is his feeling, what he's thinking. Drishtva tvarena nija dhoranato vatirya. After seeing this, Brahma hastily got down from his swan vehicle. He fell down like a golden rod, dandavat, and he touched Lord Krishna's lotus feet with the tips of his helmets. And offering his obeisances, he bathed the feet of Krishna with the tears of his joy. Brahma's curiosity, his little bit of pride, his astonishment was now covered into the joy of devotion. This is the difference between a devotee and a non-devotee. When the non-devotees were exposed to the display of Krishna's opulences, their enmity and hostility only increased. But when Brahma saw this display, his heart became overwhelmed with devotion. Even Indra, when he realized his mistake, then he came to beg forgiveness from Krishna, and he brought Surabhi with him. So rising and falling again and again at Krishna's lotus feet for a long time, Brahma remembered over and over the greatness of Krishna. Then rising very gradually, wiping his two eyes, Brahma looked at Mukunda, Krishna, and his head bent low, his mind concentrated, his body trembling with great humility and with faltering words. Brahma, the creator of the universe, began offering prayers. Now, with this, the 13th chapter is over. The 14th chapter now begins. So the Brahma Vimohana Lila essentially has two chapters in the 10th canto, 13th and 14th. So we won't discuss the prayers in detail because it's too long, although each verse of these prayers is philosophically and devotionally very, very instructive. And I would definitely urge all of you to please read this chapter. If you like, you can read the whole pastime of the 13th and 14th chapters to refresh your memory. So that is like a homework that you can do, and it will give you great happiness. So Brahma offered these prayers, and these prayers are very famous in the devotee community. And some of these prayers have been recited by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and our acharyas frequently. Srila Prabhupada also cited many verses from Brahma's teachings frequently from this particular set of prayers. So in any case, we won't go into that now. So Brahma then began his prayers. There are many, many verses in this prayers. So after he had offered prayers, he just chanted one prayer, which I had also mentioned when I had gone to that center. What is the place? Perambur. When I had gone to Perambur also, I cited this particular verse because that was the context there. Jananta eva janantu kim bahuktya name prabho manaso vapusho vacho vaibhavam tava gochara. So, after having glorified Krishna substantially with his heart and praised the glory of devotional service, he is saying, my dear Lord, there are some foolish people who think that they know you. But actually, let them say like that. Let them think like this. But as far as I am concerned, I understand that with my body, with my mind, and with my words, I cannot reach you. I cannot understand you. Your existence, your name, form, pastimes, abode, personality, everything is far beyond the reach of my body, mind, and words. And Brahma is not an ordinary soul. If for Brahma it is like this, we can imagine what is our condition. And still we have people who actually say, even today, I know Krishna, I know Bhagavad Gita, I know Bhagavatam. No, we cannot know. We will know only a very little bit, just an atomic fraction. Krishna may reveal himself to us depending on the depth of our devotion and the humility of our heart. And then he says, my dear Krishna, Anujanihi Mam Krishna Sarvam Tvam Vedsi Sarvatrik. Anujanihi, please let me depart now. Please give me permission to go, O Krishna. You are the knower and seer of all things. Indeed, you are the Lord of all the universes, and yet I offer this one universe to you. Jagat etad tava arpitam. Because Brahma is in charge of this universe. He can't offer somebody else's universe, no? He has to offer his own universe. Just like when we offer to Krishna, we offer something that belongs to us. So we bring some donation from our earnings, we give it to Krishna for his service. Or we have some food, or we have any other gift to Krishna. We don't take somebody else's money and say, Krishna, here, this is for you. That is for that person to offer, because that doesn't belong to us. So we don't have a right to offer something that belongs to somebody else without their permission, to take it and then offer to Krishna. So Brahma is saying, this universe is what I have. This is something that I'm overseeing. The responsibility is something you have given me. So I offer this one universe to you. Jagat etat tava arpitam. And then he goes on to say, my dear Krishna, you bestow happiness upon the lotus-like Vrishni dynasty and expand the great oceans of the earth, the demigods, the brahmanas, and the cows. In this way, Brahma offered his final prayer and departed from there. After circumambulating Krishna 3 times, he bowed down again, and then he left for Brahmaloka on his swan. Shukadev Goswami continues and says that after Brahma left, the Supreme Personality of Godhead took the calves who were still where they had been a year earlier and brought them to the river bank where he had been taking his meal and where his cowherd boyfriends had been before. When Brahma actually came here and he saw Krishna, after having seen the exhibition of the 400 forms of Vishnu, the Krishna that appeared before him now was the same cowherd boy who he had seen 1 year earlier, holding the curd rice and the fruit in his left hand. And Srila Prabhupada explains that this Krishna that Brahma was seeing was practically ignoring Brahma. Krishna was more interested in searching for his calves and looking for his friends. Where are my calves? Where are my friends? Because in that Lila, he was playing a cowherd boy. So he was thinking, who is this big man who has come with 4 heads? I don't know, golden complexioned person. So where are my friends? Yes? Suppose some children are playing, okay, in a group, they're very engrossed in playing. And suppose even some president or prime minister or king comes, they will be least bothered. They don't know who the king is, what is prime minister, what is president. They don't know. So they're just engaged in playing. For them, that is the most important thing. So similarly, Krishna playing the role of a cowherd boy is not concerned that the creator of the universe has come. He relishes the pastimes of Vrindavan with the Vrajavasis more than he does with his dealings with the big material representatives like Brahma and all that in the material universe. So the extraordinary thing that we read here is that those cowherd boys and calves who had been sitting there when Krishna left, Krishna returned to those set of cowherd boys and calves. So please note, we are talking of 3 sets of calves and cowherd boys. Can anyone tell me now, which are the 3 sets of calves and cowherd boys? Can you raise your hand and say? We are talking in this pastime of 3 sets of the same cowherd boys and calves. Yes. Yes. The original calves and cowherd boys. The Maya Arbakas, or the Maya illusory forms of the calves and cowherd boys. And the third were the expansions of Krishna, that he expanded himself to become these boys. Very nice. So, so there are 3 sets now. Astonishing pastime. So now there's a question that will arise. What question arises? Huh? Where were the originals? Because Brahma's illusory boys and cows were in wherever he had kept them, in the cave or wherever it was. The display of the Vishnu forms, they were going and coming to Vraja every day, going for grazing, going back to the village. And finally, this third set of original cowherd boys, if they were where they were, and Brahma stole the illusory cowherd boys, then where were they? And how come nobody noticed them? And what were they doing for 1 whole year? No food, no nothing, just sitting there in the forest. So, Shukadev Goswami and Srila Prabhupada explain here that according to Sanatana Goswami, Prabhupada says, the calves and the boys remained in the forest and on the river bank respectively for 1 full year. Exactly at the same places where they were earlier. The boys were sitting on the bank, enjoying their feast, and the calves were nearby somewhere in the forest, grazing. And 1 year later, when Krishna came back again with the curd rice in his left hand, looking, where are my friends, where are my friends? They were exactly at the same space for 1 whole year. So Brahma had taken away the illusory forms. Now, what happened to the original cowherd boys and calves? Sanatana Goswami says that by the Lord's omnipotent illusory energy, the spiritual energy, the gopis and other residents of Vrindavan, who used to come and go in the forest, the older gopas used to come, the gopis may sometimes wander in the forest. By Krishna's Yogamaya potency, they did not notice. So the illusory potency Yogamaya of Krishna covered their eyes in such a way that they could not see the cowherd boys sitting there enjoying their picnic, and they could not see the calves who were grazing nearby on the succulent grass. And what about the cowherd boys? The cowherd boys also did not notice the passing of time. They did not think that 1 year had passed. For them, only a few moments passed. And they were sitting there still enjoying their meals. And when Krishna came back to them, still with that curd rice in his left hand, they were all amazed and surprised. Why were they surprised? They were not surprised because Krishna took such a long time to come. They were surprised because Krishna took such a short time to come. Krishna, you were away only for a few moments. How did you find the calves in such a short time and you have returned to us? Come, now you sit with us and enjoy the picnic. So the calves, the cowherd boys were blissfully unaware of all that had transpired. Kala Shakti ultimately is the energy of Krishna. And it operates in Vrindavan in a way that we cannot understand and conceive. So these boys did not notice the passing of 1 year. They thought it to be only a few moments. There are many such phenomena regarding time that happen in Krishna's pastimes. For example, it is described that the Rasa Lila, which actually happened for one night here in Vrindavan, actually happened for one whole night of Brahma. But that one night of Brahma was compressed into one earthly night here. So these kind of experiences happen in the spiritual realm. They don't happen in the material realm. So here also the cowherd boys, for them, they did not feel any hunger, thirst, sleep, or anxiety. They thought Krishna has gone and he'll come back in a few minutes, maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes, maybe half an hour, he'll be back. But they saw Krishna coming back very quickly, and the calves were also there. So they were relieved that the calves were safe, nothing had happened to them. And they were still in the process of enjoying themselves, eating their food, exchanging jokes and so on. So Krishna, you have come back so quickly. So they did not notice also. So the illusory forms of the cowherd boys and cows, they became unmanifested. So Krishna must have made them disappear. His expansions as Vishnu forms, they would have merged back into Krishna. So they were no longer visible. So of the three sets, the two became not visible. So now only the original cowherd boys and the calves remained. And Krishna continued happily with his picnic, enjoying food, putting it in somebody else's mouth, some other cowherd boy putting some food in his mouth. And in this way, Krishna continued to enjoy his pastimes. What an extraordinary pastimes. Prabhupada says here that the entire universe is bewildered. Even great demigods like Indra and Brahma are not exempt from this principle of forgetfulness. Since Lord Krishna exercised his internal illusory potency over his cowherd boy friends and calves, it is not at all astonishing that for 1 year they could not remember their position. Indeed, by the Lord's external potency, the conditioned souls forget their existence not only for 1 year, but for billions and billions of years, like all of us. Now, fortunately, somehow or the other, we have got connected to this Krishna consciousness movement of Srila Prabhupada and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And we have an opportunity to revive our original condition. So, then Krishna wound up this pastime. He said, now we have finished our lunch and the cows have eaten and drunk to their full satisfaction. So let us all now go back to Vraja. So all of them started walking back as they would do every day. Nothing had changed. For the cowherd boys and calves, it was all the same as if they had been doing it earlier. And as they entered the village, in great eagerness, as usual, the boys rushed home and told their family members and others, today Krishna killed a big snake, he killed a big snake. That was Aghasura. And then they described in detail all that they had seen. And the residents of Vrindavan were struck with wonder, once again to see these miraculous pastimes of this little boy whom they did not understand was the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this is the answer to the question of King Parikshit. Why is it, or how is it, that a pastime that happened when Krishna was 5 years old became revealed when he was about 6 years old, that is 1 year later? And with this concludes the Brahma Vimohana Lila. So please do read both these chapters, including the prayers. They are very, very instructive. And you will also refresh your memory about the pastime that we have discussed yesterday and today. Brahma Vimohana Lila ki jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham ki jai. So if you have any questions, we can discuss them now. Pertaining to our discussion yesterday and today. Please do not ask questions of a general nature in Krishna consciousness that do not pertain to our current discussion. Okay, yes. Is there any mic that can come here? Yes. Yes, Hare Krishna.
Our boys saw Brahma, they know about this pastime in their home, that some four-head person came.
Say that again.
Did the power boys see Brahma? What they know about this pastime at their home? Did they know at their home about Brahma, like some four-head?
The original cowherd boys did not see Brahma, they had no clue. Had they seen Brahma, they would surely have told everybody at home, we saw a big four-headed man there. Hare Krishna. Yes. This mobile phone is a cause of much happiness. Okay? All right? Don't hold this part. This part you hold. Yes. You will find out when you go there.
These words in verses, so that it is Sanskrit, but he used to converse in
Shukadev Goswami has spoken Sanskrit. Braja Bhasha also, Krishna knows all languages. Yes.
So, that is one activity body of Akasha, because they think that the original Gopas, they just think that but it is 1 year after they spoke that practice. And after this Brahma Vimohana Lila, so the other power boys, power males, they are coming.
Yeah, so as I said earlier, so the question is that how come the body of Aghasur was not seen by everybody else for 1 whole year? Just like the residents of Vrindavan did not see the cowherd boys and the cows in their original place by the influence of Yogamaya, similarly, they did not also see the body of Aghasura. So they did not understand that such a pastime had happened, and that got revealed only after 1 year.
Other cohort gopis having the experience of Krishna and on the contrary, we also see Bhagavad sister having a desire to have Krishna as a child and having an experience. So, what is the difference in these two aspects? Both of them have the same misfortune. What should be the detail in this understanding? Both of them.
One are the Brajabasi gopis and the cows who had Krishna as their son, and the first one was? Huh? Putana. Okay, so what is the difference between Putana, who fed milk to Krishna on one hand, and the others, like the cows and the gopis, who also fed milk to Krishna? The difference is very clear. The difference is love. Putana did not feed milk to Krishna out of love, but she did it out of a desire to kill him. Of course, it was not possible to kill Krishna, and on the contrary, she was killed. But because she had the desire to be a mother of Krishna, so she got the destination or the place of a dhatri or a nurse in a section of Goloka Vrindavan. So her negative emotions were taken away when Krishna killed her. So she got the reaction for that. But because she had a maternal instinct of wanting to feed, because she was Ratnamala, the sister of Bali Maharaj in the previous birth, where initially she felt this Vamanadev, oh, he's like a cute boy. I wish I could feed him milk. But when she saw the Virat Roop, then it turned into disgust. But she had that feeling. So she was given an opportunity to give milk to Krishna in this life as Putana. But when she came as a demoness, she did not have any love for Krishna. On the other hand, the residents of Vrindavan, the gopis and the cows, their hearts were full of unparalleled love for Krishna. So, if Putana got such a destination, you can imagine what is the destination received by these cows and the cowherd boys who treated Krishna as their son for 1 year with total devotion. Okay? Yes.
Two questions. Once was sending demons and devotees practically every day to entertain Krishna. And in this 1 year period, there was no cover in the demons coming. So is it, we understand that Krishna was already controlling when we will come to get to them?
So the question is that generally demons were coming every day. And what happened during this 1 year? Did the demons not come? The answer is yes, it is true. Prabhupada explains in one place that every day demons would come. And I think it is Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur who says before lunch at least 1 or 2 were killed by Krishna like appetizers so he could eat his lunch nicely. So the demons used to come. So the demons mentioned by Shukadev Goswami in the Srimad Bhagavatam, therefore, we can understand, is not the total list of demons who came and who were killed. So there must have been many, many other demons, but Shukadev Goswami realized he had only 7 days to tell Srimad Bhagavatam to Parikshit Maharaj, and already several days had elapsed discussing the first 9 cantos. So he didn't have much time left. So he spoke of only certain important demons who had come. So demons were coming, and even in this 1 year, demons may have come and Krishna may have killed demons. The only difference is that the other cowherd boys and the cows, they were Krishna himself. That's the only difference.
The second question is apart from being Brahma Vimohana Lila, was there a sense
Apart from being,
Brahma Vimohana Lila? Was also in a sense Balram Mohan Lila. Even Balramji was very
yes,
There is no report of Balramji saying any dialogue between Krishna and Balram on this.
yes, there is a dialogue here where Balram approaches Krishna and says, "Oh Lord of the universes, what is this mysterious phenomenon that I am seeing that is bewildering even me?" So that is the dialogue, is that particular verse spoken by Balaram to Krishna. I mentioned that in the course of the talk. So Balaram, after analysis, he understands that the answer to this is that Krishna has expanded himself. So he goes and approaches Krishna to confirm, to validate his process. And Krishna, by his silent assent, indicates that, yes, my dear brother, what you're thinking is true. So Brahma also participates in Krishna's Leela by sometimes forgetting. Is that surprising? No, because Krishna himself also forgets. So otherwise, how can he play the role of a cowherd boy? As we discussed earlier, he was actually afraid when Mother Yashoda was chasing him and then she bound him to the grinding mortar. So at that time, he didn't remember that he's God. Because such forgetfulness is necessary to make him and the devotees relish the taste of those pastimes and those rasas more deeply and sweetly. So therefore the Leela Shakti of the Lord, Krishna submits to forgetfulness from the Leela Shakti of the Lord so that his pastimes become sweeter. And similarly with Balaram. And it so happened that Balaram didn't come on both days because both happened to be his birthday. So he did not know what had happened, that Brahma had stolen the calves and all that. And neither did he see what happened on that day when Brahma came and got bewildered. He only understood what has happened 5 or 6 days before, when he concluded that this is Krishna's expansion. So yes, Brahma Vimohana Lila, or Balarama Mohana Lila, yes. But all of Krishna's pastimes are Krishna Mohana Lila also. And in fact, therefore, even though Krishna is Madana Mohana, he bewilders Cupid, but Srimati Radharani is Madana Mohana Mohani. So she bewilders Krishna. So Krishna is not free from bewilderment either. So the taste of devotional service, the rasas are supreme. And Krishna himself likes to subject himself to that bewilderment so that the rasa is nourished.
In this, you mentioned that when Brahma is basically supposed to be all of Krishna at the end of the last night, it is sort of philosophical and devotional insight. But Krishna does not really appreciate at the time in the Leela. So then how do we understand that? I mean, we should praise or we should see and then praise or how
No, you see, Krishna, it's similar to what happened later in the Govardhan Leela. When Indra comes to offer obeisances, Krishna is just standing there, looking here, there, as a 7-year-old cowherd boy. And Indra is coming there and offering obeisances and all that. And Krishna is just, who is this man who has come here? I am just a cowherd boy and my business is grazing the cows. Why has he come? But for a brief period, he engages with Indra. Megha Gambhiraya Vacha, in a voice like the rumbling of clouds, he speaks to Indra and tells him, Indra, you should not have done this. It is not becoming of you to become arrogant and proud like this. So go back and remain humble and serve my orders nicely. So in that brief time, Krishna acts as the Lord. And then he's back to being a cowherd boy again. Where am I? Who is this man here? So in the same way with Brahma also. A little curd rice, fruit, here, there. Where are my cows? Where are my cows? He's only 5 years old at the time of this Leela, or 6 years old when Brahma appeared. And looking here and there, then Brahma comes and he offers prayers. Then of course, he listens, partly as he exhibits his Godhead to understand, but also he's just thinking, who is this man offering prayers to me? What are 4 heads, golden complexion, offering full Dandavat Pranam to me? He's saying so many philosophical things. I don't even understand what he's saying. But of course he understands. But at the same time, he's playing the role of that cowherd boy. He's absorbed in that. So Brahma gets the benefit of it. And then by his silent assent, Brahma understands it's time to go now. So Krishna gives him permission and Brahma leaves. So definitely prayers like Brahma's prayers and any other prayers that we offer should be following in the footsteps of Brahma, these kind of prayers that will be philosophically accurate, should not have any philosophical blunders in the prayers that we have. And secondly, they should be with devotion and faith. And they should not be asking for something material. So certainly we can follow in the footsteps and pray like that. Okay? Any other questions? Yes.
Krishna went looking for the cows. and then he could not find it. And when Krishna came back, he could not find the boy sleeping. So why could
Krishna Mohana Lila. Krishna also, where are my cows? Where are they? Where are my friends? Where are I can't see my cows. I can't see my friends. Where are they? What happened? At the same time, he understood also, as Shukadev Goswami says, yes, Sarvam Vidhikritam. This whole thing has been orchestrated by Vidhi or Brahma. So these things were parallelly going on.
at the same time towards the end of the mission, the gods were there in the same spot.
Hmm.
But Krishna initially could not find them in the same spot.
Now he found. Now he found it. After 1 year was over, he saw them in the same spot. But for 1 year, he also could not see them in that one spot. Although he is Vishwadrik, he can see everything in the universe, he understands everything. But still for 1 year, his Leela Shakti even covered him. So he also did not see. Okay?
And in Krishna manifested the whole Vishnu forms. The boys in the cars, the whole Vishnu forms. Is it because Brahma initiates the 400 form more than 200 form? Just to show that.
Yes, and also to demonstrate that he is the Supreme Lord. Because Brahma had that doubt. Is this really Hari? Va Vrajagopa Balakaihi. Is he just a Vrajagopa Bala? Or is he Hari Yadi Syat? If he's really Hari, so is he Hari or not Hari? So in order to dispel any doubts that Brahma may have had, he wanted to make it clear that he is the origin of all the Vishnus, that he is himself directly God. And because Brahma's experience is largely with the 400 form of Vishnu, the Purusha Sukta prayers, and such prayers addressed by the demigods, they relate to Vishnu. So now Brahma understood that this little cowherd boy is the origin of all these Vishnu forms. Okay. Sariya? Yes. Hare Krishna.
That each one forms from the spiritual world to the
Can you keep a little away? Yeah.
when each one forms from the spiritual world to the material world. He must offer the post of Guru. Is it true?
Well, maybe not. So, it is not necessary, but it may happen in some cases. Any other questions? Two? No, 2 points doesn't. I didn't understand. First point, what was it? Please come here and tell me. What?
Yesterday and today also you mentioned 2 points. Listen carefully.
Uh,
To all of us, you are sleeping, just wake up, just listen these 2 points.
uh-huh.
And 2 points. One is under the spelling, another one I don't know. But 2 points.
Okay, so the question is, I said there are 2 points. Please listen carefully and wake up if anybody is sleeping. Yes? So what were those 2 points for those of you who were awake? Please, somebody can say. Who will say? Yes. With the
So one point was that
don't cover the mic like that. Yeah, like this.
one point was that Rama would never touch Mother Sita. He touched the Maya Sita. Similarly, Brahma would never touch the Baba.
And therefore, The second point was that the boys who were kidnapped or taken away by Brahma and the calves also were not the originals. They were illusory forms. Okay, these were the 2 points. Yes, any other question? Yes, on this side.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna was there in all your persons. Okay, in how this whole experience of joy. Now, when after 1 year, their own children come back, how do they feel? They feel any difference or the same feelings or never?
Oh, definitely they feel the difference.
Then how
Now, suddenly what happened? My love for my child is reduced. And what I used to feel for last 1 year, it didn't happen. So, the reason for their increased love for their own children is that Krishna had become their child. Now that the cowherd boys were back, they still loved their children, of course, but not as much as they did for the last 1 year. Because, as I mentioned, Shukadev Goswami says that in Vrindavan, the gopis loved Krishna more than they loved their own children. Okay? Any other question? Yes, over there. So relevant to our discussion for yesterday and today.
Hare Krishna. Thanks for the clarification. That's one question that you said, Lila Sakti. Normally when we talk about Krishna Sakti, Lila Sakti, Lila Sakti, Indra Lakshmana, Mata, and Sita. So but Lila Sakti gives pleasure to Krishna. But now when it is coming, we say it is actually Maya. When we say Maya, in every word it is something, we don't come out of Maya. So if it gives pleasure to Krishna, it has to be Radharani's spirit. So this Lila Sakti should be Radharani's mercy or Lila Sakti.
Okay, what exactly is this Leela Shakti and how does it compare to the Maya that is found in this world? Yes? So you see, originally, Krishna has innumerable energies. But actually, you can say that Krishna has only one energy. That one energy is all powerful. And that one energy can perform multiple functions. And according to the functions that these Shaktis the Shakti performs at different times, those Shaktis are named differently. They operate differently and therefore they are named differently. So that form of Yoga Maya, so originally it's all Maya or Yoga Maya. So when that Yoga Maya operates within this world, she is called Mahamaya and she has a different effect. Here, the Yoga Maya is meant for, pure Yoga Maya is meant for the spiritual world, for the devotees of Krishna. Mahamaya is meant for the conditioned souls. The conditioned souls are put into forgetfulness of Krishna by Mahamaya. So Yoga Maya acts in a particular way for conditioned living entities when she is called Mahamaya, and then she is called Yoga Maya when she acts in the spiritual realm. So even that Yoga Maya, according to her functions in the spiritual world, she may be named differently. So Leela Shakti or any other Shakti operating in the spiritual world is ultimately also a manifestation of Yoga Maya. Okay? They are just called differently according to the purpose for which these Shaktis are employed. Yeah.
So since Brahma is our Acharya and he is the first person, intelligent person in the universe, does this Lila minimize his position or glorify his position?
Good question. Because Brahma is our Acharya, does this Brahma Vimohana Lila minimize his position or does it glorify his position? Very interesting question. You can understand it as a devotee that it actually glorifies his position because he becomes an instrument to reveal a most extraordinary pastime of the Lord. As I mentioned earlier, Brahma has had many days before this one. He is in his 51st year now, the first day of the 51st year. So 50 years he has lived, and each of his days has 360 days. And in each one of those days, Krishna has come and performed Vrindavan pastimes one time. So surely this kind of pastime must have been performed earlier. So he's aware of who is Krishna, right? So how does he forget? After having seen it for 50 times, 360 times earlier. Not possible. So obviously there is an element here of arrangement by Krishna. So Brahma is also a participant in Krishna's pastime to reveal some wonderful things about Krishna's qualities and his pastimes. Okay? So that is one way. So Brahma, he, at another level, we can understand also Brahma wanted to see Krishna exhibit his potencies and opulences, and he wanted everybody else to also see. So in this way we understand Brahma has been used as an instrument by Krishna to manifest this most wondrous pastime. On the other hand, the lesson to learn also, because Prabhupada says that Brahma is born from a lotus which is material, and therefore he is also subject to forgetfulness. And sometimes there may be a little misunderstanding or confusion where Brahma wants to exhibit his own potency and gets bewildered. So there is that learning lesson also from this particular pastime. Okay? So overall though, we should see that Brahma's position is not minimized, and we should not think of Brahmaji in a disparaging way, in a negative way, because he's after all such an exalted personality and he's the founder of our sampradaya. Okay? But remember, all Brahmas are not necessarily great devotees in the different universes. Some Brahmas may be non-devotees, some may be yogis, some may be jnanis, some may be whatever. Our Brahma, four-headed Brahma, is the founder of our Brahma Sampradaya, so he is a great devotee. But even he, at that time, that knowledge of Vrindavan was hidden from him. It had to be again revealed through this pastime. Okay? All right. Yes.
But we see Brahmaji sometimes get revealed, and you mentioned Brahma and Sudhya Goswami. So Parikshit Maharaj says to Brahmaji, because you hear very clearly. And so one secret is that this one also because our Parampara, the Gaudiya Vaishnava Parampara, Brahma Vimohana. So because that time Brahma, Srila Prabhupada easily given that philosophy and Vrindavan notes in our books. So we easily understand, if we even focus, we understand that these things from Vrindavan notes. So this is also secret that if we follow the parampara and if we follow our present acharyas, so they also glorify our present acharyas position. This also secret is there that.
I did follow the last part of our previous acharyas. They have explained all these teachings, and therefore
So Brahmaji also want to glorify our Guru Parampara.
Yes.
So, lineage that Guru Parampara is there. Step by step going down, but they are more higher. Philosophy and now more easily.
So are you saying that, is your question that our acharyas, are they higher than Brahma? Is that your question?
But they follow you.
No, they're not higher than Brahma. They are descendants of Brahma spiritually. So Brahma is our founder acharya of the whole sampradaya. Yes? So therefore we must have the due respect for him. It is just that down the Guru Shishya Parampara, these subtle truths, esoteric truths, confidential truths may be revealed in different ways at different times by the different acharyas. Okay? So every acharya in the parampara has his own unique contribution and situation, and specifically we are following in the footsteps of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So that has made a lot of difference also in the way we understand this.
We hear spiritual so they need more.
I didn't quite understand. Can you come here and just, the sound system somehow, it doesn't come to me directly. Yeah.
हाई इन द सेंस महाराज की जो
What?
परंपरा में हम नीचे आ रहे हैं ना, इतने ज्यादा हम नीचे आते हैं क्योंकि स्पिरिचुअल लेवल में तो उल्टा है ना, कि जो दास हैं वो ज्यादा हायर पोजीशन पे हैं. सो इन द सेंस दिस सेंस मींस हायर.
So what is the question exactly?
एक्चुअली क्वेश्चन में अगर हम गुरु परंपरा फॉलो कर रहे हैं तो और ज्यादा वो हायर होती जा रही है. मतलब जो फिलोसफिकल अंडरस्टैंडिंग है और भक्ति का जो तत्व है वो इजी होता जा रहा है इन कलयुग.
Okay. So the question he's asking is that as the parampara moves on and more truths are explained bit by bit, so it becomes easier and easier for us to understand these subtle truths of devotional life because they're explained in much more simple manners. So yes, we are very fortunate in that regard. We don't have to go through the kind of austerities that Brahma had to undergo. Neither do we have to do what many of our previous acharyas had to do. Srila Prabhupada has given us these beautiful books with elaborate purports, explanations, and so also the previous acharyas have. And Srila Prabhupada has included many of what the earlier acharyas have said in his purports as well. So yes, we are fortunate that things have been made easy for us by the explanations of the acharyas. Okay, so thank you all very much. We will end here. And thank you for being very, very attentive. Only few people were sleeping, not many. Still, so that is a good ratio. It was an acceptable ratio today. Okay. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Vrindavan Dham ki jai, Gaur Premanande.